All right, I told Ali I was bringing some drinks. What he didn't know is bringing this bad boy. Got a lime in there, cutting board, some glasses. Let's go knock on the door. Bet they're smoking. Oh shit. Make sure I have the right house.
My guy.
Hey, I'm outside.
Yes, sir. I'm on my way. My guy. Oh. Welcome to
Hey, what's up?
How we feeling, man?
Got a little extra camera here tonight.
Yes, sir.
For the visuals.
We got a nice little
Arcanaut. Hey, no.
Okay.
I told you I was bringing drinks.
I love
No, look, what's in there? Come on.
Oh my god, we got a nice little kegger. The Dos Equis Cinco de Drinko fucking specials going down. How we feeling, my brother?
Arcanaut.
Thank you, bro. Okay, I say hi.
Okay, I'm gonna stop.
Singlex.
Oh, bro, that's so nice.
So it has all these crazy effects on there.
Now there's filters that do this digitally nowadays, but
it's so cool to get this all organically.
yeah.
And that's
This
so
is
cool.
I can't stress enough that this is something tangible that you can hold. Obviously, he's showing us on his phone.
Mm-hmm.
Dang,
Final 1080.
I just got a 4K monitor.
Really?
It's so
Monitor for your camera. What kind is it?
I don't know, but
I had like some Feel World one. It was like $150.
No,
it was a solid.
This is a really nice one.
Damn.
Yeah, because I finally got a nice computer. This isn't part of the podcast.
No, like on that case, like
Actually, we can talk about it in a little bit.
We're good. Talk.
I do want to start there, yo. Thank you to everybody out there. Welcome to episode 300 and motherfucking 20, y'all. I got a beautiful room with some beautiful ass people inside the room. We're gonna go around the room and introduce ourselves. But today, I'm so humbled and I'm so excited to get into a new world that I am not accustomed to, that I'm learning a lot about. But my guy Evrgold and my guy Brian are here to definitely bestow some education on me and Nick today. So thank y'all. Cheers, cheers. My guys.
We already cheers, but we weren't
drinking.
We weren't filming.
My God. So we're actually drinking on this episode. I'm gonna start on my right hand side. I got my guy Eric. How we feeling, Brody?
Doing good. How are you?
Bro, chilling, man. My guy, thank you so much for joining me, man. I can't wait to go inside of your world and find out what you got going on. But before we do start, man, I just gotta ask you one quick question. What one word would you use to describe the style of photography that you do?
Damn, just mid.
No, I love it. We're gonna keep it at mid.
Good humble answer. Good humble answer.
Then I'm gonna pass the Dutchie upon the left hand side of me to the man Brian Tuesday turned. Everybody knows you as Tuesday now, bro.
I didn't know your name for the longest time.
It's all good. Hey, I was filming downtown. Last Friday, I was just randomly riding my bike downtown filming, and a kid yelled Tuesday at me like a stranger, basically.
That's so sick.
Yo, shouts out to that kid, bro.
He was at the AZ Takeover ride out, so that's how he knew me. But I was literally just riding my bike down the street, because people call me Tuesday all the time, but it's people I know, right? And this kid was like, Tuesday! Like in the middle of downtown. I was like, what?
Downtown famous. Oh my God.
That's the sickest shit. I think between you and 40, you guys have like the best nicknames out here.
I will, yeah, bro. I double down on that.
Thank you.
Brian, so thank you so much for coming back inside the room with us, man. On the last episode that you were on, we talked about nothing but bikes. We dropped a lot of information about bikes, but today we're not going down that realm. We are going down another realm, a new hobby of yours, because it's kind of brand new. No,
come
would you call
on,
it? Okay,
bro. Come on, bro.
Would you
I've
call
been
it?
shooting photos since I was 11 years old.
I'm sorry. So I can't wait to dive into that as well too, bro. Because
it's all good. You're gonna learn.
I can't wait. But what's one word, man, that you can describe your
oh, come on, man.
Your style as, man?
Streets.
Let's go. The gutter bit.
Always in the streets. Yeah.
I
Since
love
I was
that.
a little kid.
Shouts out to you, my guy.
Yeah.
And to the left-hand side of him, we got the man in full effect.
What's up, everybody?
Nation
Host
Entertainment.
with the most.
Well, yes, I'm gonna make an announcement. Yes, Nation Entertainment was. We are actually gonna be bringing that down for a while, and we are gonna be revamping the brand and business. We will still be doing audio rental. I know that for sure. So we're gonna keep some equipment for that. But we will be getting into the realm of shirt printing.
Let's go! Shouts out to that, man. Shouts out to Nick.
So that's gonna be a good new adventure. So it's gonna take the summer to think about everything, all the type of branding that we want to do, what the name is gonna be, how we're gonna go about it. I already have some ideas who I want to talk to and bring in, as well as maybe some camera folk that we might want to talk to.
Ding, 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 ding.
So there's gonna be.
I see what's going on here. Wait a minute, y'all got us up in here
I feel like
to get a deal? Is that what's going on?
I feel like I'm on the
It's
casting
just,
couch.
it's just my ideas. Just my ideas flowing,
Just kidding.
Right.
I'll always be open to everything. It is what it is. That's what it is. That's all.
Nick is already thinking business. Shouts out to you, bro. Now, Brian and Eric, my guy, I kind of want to dive into both of you guys, but I do want to start somewhere. Eric, I know my guy, they call you Evrgold, right? Now, I love that name. That's a very dope name to me. I am a person that loves a lot of monikers. AKAs are a huge thing to me, bro. Now, how did you get the name Evrgold?
So that was something I came up while I was still doing bikes. So like I've had 3 real like prominent, at least I guess, usernames or just nicknames in my day. It was local when I first got started. That whole thing got a little messy, so I needed to disconnect from that when I got like officially sponsored by Unknown and started writing for them.
Dope.
They wanted me to clean up the whole image, so then became Push Pedals. So that was what everybody knew me as back when I was like 20 riding. But I was always wanting to change the name to Evrgold because it's a play on evergreen. So it's a little bit of a different way to say, say forever gold.
Yes, sir.
Because gold doesn't tarnish, it doesn't, doesn't stain, it doesn't scratch.
And it doesn't rust. I love that. Yo, I love people that have actual meanings behind their names. You know, a lot of people just be calling them, like, themselves Lil something nowadays.
No.
Yeah. There's no definition.
New username Lil Gold.
We out here, gang. No, Brian, my guy.
Real quick, just because you said evergreen, is that like a 420 reference or?
No.
Okay,
Just
it's a nature reference.
Yeah, nature
Okay.
reference, like trees the way they're.
I lived in Washington for like 7 years, Washington State, so I'm all about the nature.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm stuck in the desert because I got someone pregnant.
Oh.
And ended up at the desert.
If any kids are listening, you want to hear my story, hit me up.
Such an outlaw,
Strap up, kids.
Stay ready, so you ain't gotta get ready.
So bad.
Condoms are
God bless you,
$7,
Brian.
diapers are $20.
Hell yeah.
Would it have baked
So
like,
true. True.
He's like, do you know how much condoms were back in my day? He's like, I don't know. We never used them. God bless
Amazing.
that, bro.
Amazing.
So my guy, you got into you started doing photography at the age of 11. I feel I'm sorry that I did not know that. Like I feel bad for not even knowing that. How did you find that hobby, man? How did you get into it? What was your main like motivation behind it?
All right, so yeah, I figured we'd probably start with history. My dad, shout out Larry in San Antonio, Texas.
Shout out Larry.
He gave me my first camera. He was a really prolific photographer, and he had a darkroom. So he gave me, I think it was a Nikon FM2, I think. But I had a lot of film cameras. I had obviously an AE1, a Canon AE1. That's what a lot of people start out with. I had like a Nikon FG. Anyway, I ended up getting really professional film cameras, Nikon F100 and then a Nikon F5. That was my highest professional level film camera. Unfortunately, I don't have those cameras anymore. One of them was stolen.
Oh man.
Before we started recording, Eric was talking about his bag getting nabbed. I'll tell you a story about mine getting nabbed also later on. And then I just had to sell one when times were tough, and you know, I just wasn't using the camera as much anymore. So long story short, I don't have any film cameras. I know Eric still has a lot, and huge props to him for that. I want to get back into it someday, but it's just so expensive. I'm going to let him talk about film and what it costs nowadays, because I honestly don't know. I haven't had a film camera in over 10 years.
Please, let's talk about, and what is a film camera in the first place, my guy, that if nobody knows what a film camera is.
So if you didn't know what a film camera was, I'm honestly still in the process of learning and getting familiar with film itself, just because I've been into it maybe the last 3 or 4 months.
Dope.
But film camera just uses a roll of 35mm film negative for the most part. You expose it to sunlight on there, and it prints your image pretty much onto there. Then you use chemicals and get it developed, and it gets later. You can scan it, and then it becomes digital, that we all know and love now.
That is, like, before we had digital, we had that.
Yeah, but the cool thing is that you can keep your negative rolls and then always have that image.
You have a physical copy instead of a virtual copy.
So yeah, it comes out physically before you ever are able to get it virtually.
I have folders of negatives that I need to print someday. Black and white, and so a black and white negative is a lot easier to process than a color image. Usually when people have home darkrooms, it's black and white, because you take a canister and you have to do this in the dark because film is sensitive to light. So you have to wind up the film out of your camera, it goes into the canister, and then it's okay to be in the light. You take it into a dark room, you take the canister apart, you wrap it around a spool, put the top on, put the chemicals in, you shake it up, and then it has to go through a series of chemical processes. So I'm sure you've seen in movies and TV shows where they have the trays.
Yeah.
So you have to let your negatives dry, and then you cut them, you put them on an enlarger, which is a machine that shines the image down onto a piece of photographic paper. And then the paper has to go through a series of baths. And then you've seen the images where the paper is hanging up with like a clothespin on a line. That's real shit. That's what we used to do.
Damn, that's so cool to me.
So it's real easy to do black and white in like a closet or a basement or something like that. Color is much more difficult and expensive.
Now, for colors, do you need more solution? Do you need more fluids to make that, you know, kind of pop?
Yeah, I've actually never done color. I've done black and white a lot. I did it at my high school, and I did it at home. I used to have a dark room, but I've never done color before. It's like a whole different animal.
Yeah, I got a couple of friends, one out here, one back in California, who develop color. His images come out really good. I like him. Shout out Gold Site Media, my buddy Andrew.
I've seen his.
Yeah, he does really cool work on film.
He processes color stuff himself?
Yeah, he does it all in his bathtub. Yeah, he's cool.
Do you know the process?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Not at all. But
gotta get him on.
lately, speaking of pricing though, I've been taking my stuff to like Phoenix Photolab, and I'll buy a roll for $24.
Just the film?
Yeah, just the film. $24 for a roll of like Kodak.
So it used to
gold.
be like $3 when I was a kid.
Fucking inflation.
So $24 for the roll. I shoot it. I only get 36 exposures, and if I mess one up, then I got less. I'll go get it developed, and it comes out to about $19.
Just for the process?
Just for the processing and scan, and then I get it back. And if I wanted them like printed or anything else, then it's more.
What does the scan come on?
They send it to me through WeTransfer.
Okay.
So I get the digitals there, and that's all I really care
So back
about.
in the day, we got a CD.
Oh man.
With that information on
Well,
it?
before that, you wouldn't get anything. You would just get prints. You would get the negatives and the
yeah.
prints.
Wow.
So, yeah,
So you
now
get a
it's-
little package, and it would have the negatives. They cut them into like either 5 or 6. So it'd have a sheet of negatives, a plastic sheet, and then the prints, obviously. And then if you wanted more prints, you could. Each negative has its own number. So you would tell them what number you wanted. You'd give them the negative back and tell them the number you wanted, the kind of paper you wanted on, the size you wanted, and every single thing has a different price. So 4x5, 5x7, 8x10, and then different kinds of paper are more expensive. There's like
Gloss finish,
museum,
there's
like
finish,
museum quality. You know what I mean?
Wow, okay.
That doesn't fade over time, stuff like that. So yeah, it's a crazy world.
So when I did the math, on average, it was like between $1.30 and $1.70 per photo, and that's if you got it right.
Ooh, okay.
The worst one was my Polaroid. I have a cool cam from like 1980, the early 80s, and I paid $40 for 16 Polaroids.
Oh my goodness.
They come in packs of 8. It was 40 something bucks plus shipping for those two.
And
like,
the regular Polaroid kind of frame.
they're a little bit bigger size than the one that everybody has, that like little thin.
The small ones. Oh yes,
the
sir.
small ones they get from like Target and stuff. But it's a little bit bigger than that. But I just like it because it's legitimately from the 80s.
It's a Polaroid, right?
Yeah.
Now
He's talking about a film Polaroid, which has like emulsion. The light hits it and it's actually exposed. They have digital Polaroids now that are completely different. It's taking a digital image and it's printing on digital paper. That's completely different. He's talking about a real Polaroid. And I want to just emphasize to anyone listening the cost that Eric just mentioned. And can you repeat it one more time? For a roll of 36, how much is each image?
About $1.30 to $1.70.
Okay,
per
so
photo.
just say $1.50. That's the photos that come out. If you take a roll of 36, you're probably going to have anywhere between 5 and 10 photos that you don't even care about.
So yeah, just loading the film, you lose like 1 or 2 frames. If you ruin the settings on one of them because you forget what ASA speed the film is, that's another thing. So with our digital cameras, we have variable ISO, so we can change the lighting, blow it out, we can make it really dark. On that, it's based on what the film is. So if you buy an 800 ASA rated film, like 800 speed, that's better for like low light, nighttime, evening kind of stuff. But if you buy one that's at 100, that's better for daylight.
okay.
The lower the ASA number, I think, what is it, lower sensitivity to light? Or higher?
So, but you have to have the right.
Lower.
You kind of, once you put the film in, you kind of just have to remember what you're shooting.
Okay. Now, that is my kind of like where I'm kind of hitting the nail on the head, y'all. Was there a lot of room for error at those times where a lot of people were transferring things in the dark? Because I don't think I can put something together in the dark, my guy. It's all I'm trying to say. Like,
I lost like half rolls of film because I didn't wind it around that spool correctly.
Oh man.
So when you put the film in the spool, it has to wind around, and the film can't be touching itself as it winds around. If it touches itself, the chemicals don't expose those areas properly. So yeah, there was several times when I was learning in high school where I lost like half a roll of film.
Damn, man.
And can you imagine, like, I'm talking to the old people here. Can you imagine those memories that were lost?
That's what I was just thinking about too. Like you will never know what you shot on those. Like even now, I wait like a month and a half and I forget completely what's on my roll.
What's on there?
Yeah. Because you don't have to shoot. For those who don't know, when you insert a roll of film in your camera, you can leave it in there for 2 years if you don't fill. You know, he said 36, but there used to be rolls of 24 also.
There is still 24s, but 36 I think is just more common now because people want more photos. I bought a roll of experimental film from a store called Relics in Long Beach. So it's called Psychedelic Blues, and these are just images from there.
That's real film?
Yeah. This is a film I shot.
Let me get this on.
I shot all of these on my, was it Ricoh Singlex?
Oh, bro, that's so nice.
So it has all these crazy effects on there.
No, there's filters that do this digitally nowadays, but
it's so cool to get this all organically.
Yeah.
And that's so cool.
I can't stress enough that this is something tangible that you can hold. Obviously, he's showing us on his phone. Dang, I should have brought some actual photos.
I would love to see that.
I didn't even think about it.
I would love to see that. That's so cool.
But when you have, I'll have to just send you something. Maybe you can edit it in.
And put it in there.
But, yeah, so I want to go back to the history real fast because, my dad got me into photography, and so you have to imagine back in the day. So I went to high school in the 90s, and you have to imagine how expensive this was even back then, especially for kids who didn't have a lot of money. Like all my money went to music and skateboarding, all my extra money. So I wish I could go back in time and put more money into photography, you know? I literally have like 2 boxes full of negatives and photo prints. And so long story short, a lot of people weren't shooting photos back then. You can imagine you had to carry around this heavy camera, you had to load it with film. You didn't know if what you were shooting was going to come out. There was and still is with people shooting film, you don't know what you're getting.
Right.
If you're a really good photographer, you have a good idea of what's going to come out on those images. You have your ISO set right, you have your shutter speed set right, you have your aperture set right, and we'll talk about these settings in just a second.
Please.
But there's so many variables to getting a good image. It can be too bright, it can be too dark, just like with a digital DSLR. So you can imagine back in the day, us kids, we didn't have a lot of money. A lot of people weren't investing into photography. So what I'm getting at is I was one of the few. I grew up in Austin, Texas, and unfortunately we've had a lot of homies passing away lately. So, you know, not to be a downer or anything, but every time one of my homies passes away, I get hit up from like 100 people. Like, hey, I remember this one time me and Dave, I remember this photo of me and Dave that you had a long time ago. Do you still have that? And it's like, it gets me, man, like for real. Like,
that's true.
Because a lot of people weren't shooting photos back then. I was one of the only people, in my city, especially in the skate culture. So I have a lot of photos of the guys that I grew up with in Austin, skating and
that's love,
just
right?
hanging out. Yeah. So nowadays, you know, everyone has a digital camera. They're so good nowadays. I can't imagine kids growing up, like my kid's 11 and I probably have, you know, at least 5,000 images of her and at least 1,000 videos, you know what I mean?
That's like, so cool.
At least. That's like a very
minimal amount.
Yeah, exactly. On the low end. So when we're talking about this stuff, anyone interested in photography and interested in the past, you have to really try and understand what I'm talking about, because to me, I'm really passionate about it, which is why I asked Eric to come on.
And it's cool talking to you because we got into it in opposite orders. Like I started out shooting digitally first, and then I built my respect for film cameras and film photography, which like it terrified me going into it because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. All I know is my digital settings. I can apply that to here to try to get a good image. And like luckily every roll that
the concepts are the same.
Yeah, luckily every roll that I've had developed so far has come back great, except for maybe one like 800 speed.
You're really lucky.
Yeah, I've been really like I've had.
So your camera has a dial where you set the ISO, right?
Yeah,
because some old cameras didn't even have that.
So yeah, I have cameras all the way from 1919 up until 2017.
Woo!
Yeah, that's my oldest one.
My man. Now,
so real quick to explain what he's talking about.
please, yes.
On the top of the camera, there will be a dial where you set the film speed, which is the ISO. So 50, 100, 200, 400, 800, 1600, those are the most common. So if you're going to be shooting at nighttime, you want a 1600 speed film. If you're going to be shooting in broad daylight, you want 50 or 100 speed film. It's going to be richer and more vibrant.
Okay.
And then the 1600 is very sensitive to light, like he was talking about. So you're going to be able to capture low light situations, right?
Dope.
So the camera, even though it's a mechanical piece of equipment, it takes a battery. So obviously there's not a computer inside of it, but there's something in there where you set that dial, you say it's 800 speed. So because it has a light meter, which is something we haven't talked about yet. One of the most important parts of shooting film is having a light meter.
It's so funny you talk about the light meter, because on every single camera that I have, the light meter either doesn't have one, or the light meter's broken.
My God.
So none of mine work, and I'm just guessing.
So you have a manual, you have a handheld one.
So I shot this set of images on my Pentax K1000.
Look at how rich it is.
And
even
these are all,
even once it's transferred to digital.
So yeah, when they're transferred.
Hold on, I gotta get.
Yeah, but that was the bluest of the blue. Like that first picture was.
So this was the most surprising roll for me, because these were all film. This is probably my favorite image from there.
Oh my God, bro.
This is too blown out in here, but yeah, you'll just have
But
to
yeah,
take our
these
word
were
for
all
it.
of that. I think that one was my favorite one, because there's a lot of detail that comes out of film, really surprisingly to me. So I duplicated some of these shots digitally too, just to see the difference. Like I have one of those that I shot with my Sony.
That's so dope.
But it's so cool.
So film is more forgiving than digital as far as light sensitivity. So if you have an overexposed, which means it's too bright, or an underexposed, which means it's too dark, if you have an overexposed or underexposed digital image, it's harder to get back what you want in a computer than it is with film. I don't know why, I don't know the science behind it, but an overexposed negative, so with film there's a negative, which is a negative image, or there's a slide film, which is actually a positive image.
Okay.
But if it's overexposed or underexposed, it's easier to get those details back on film. I don't know why. It's like there's actually more data contained in the emulsion on the film than what the digital eye can see.
Yeah, I'm learning that right now too. I know trying to recover digital images is a pain if they're under overexposed, but I haven't even messed with film or even thought of that concept as far as that goes.
Yeah, because you're having a lab do it all for you.
Yeah.
So when you have a dark room, you can.
I'd like to start.
I'm gonna sound so old here. Like no one's even gonna know what I'm talking about.
Drop it, Brian.
I might. I did some film stuff in high school too.
In high school too?
We're gonna get to y'all's history in just a second.
I like to
So before I forget, there's dodging and burning, which Photoshop has taken those terms, but it came from film. So dodging and burning is making certain parts of the image lighter and darker. So imagine you have an enlarger. The negative goes in the enlarger up here. It projects light down onto the film. I'm sorry, the film is up here. The negative up here, the processed film. The paper down here for the print. We would take little tiny, like a popsicle stick with a piece of paper. If there was like one area that was too bright, and we would dodge it like this, or burn. You want it to be brighter, it would be the opposite. You know, like if there was an area over here that was too light, you block off the light over here. It's called dodging and burning, and now you can do that in Photoshop. But I want to go back to the light meter real fast, because when we're talking about film, one of the most important things that's going to determine the result is the light meter. And like Eric was saying, some of those cameras either don't have one or it's broken. So most cameras had a light meter built in. Some of them were great, some of them were crappy. They also have a handheld light meter. So if you've ever seen a professional photographer with this little instrument in his hand,
I did see
with
it.
like a little bulb on it, he's checking the light in the room. So you set the ISO, you set the shutter speed and the aperture, which we'll get into in just a second, and you set like two of the variables, and it'll tell you what the third one should be. So if you tell it the ISO and the shutter speed, it'll tell you what aperture it should be.
That's cool.
And if you know your camera really well and you're like, okay, in this situation, my photos are always a little underexposed, so I need to open up the aperture a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So you start to learn your cameras and you start to learn the light meter, and it's trial and error, which is very expensive.
Oh yeah, I barely learned one of the rule of thumbs for like for film photography, which is like sunny 16. That was like barely introduced to me, because if it's sunny out, you want your aperture about 16.
Mm.
So
but if you want to get creative and you want a wider aperture to blur out the background.
Now, what is an aperture, my guy? Yeah, drop that on me.
Wait, hold on. Before we get into that, I want to hear y'all's histories with cameras.
Oh yeah. I did some film in high school. Didn't you do?
Bro, yeah. So I got into the high. So I don't know how I got into the highest class.
We're talking like 5 years ago here.
Bro, I wish, my guy.
Man,
I'm turning 33 next week.
I feel like the baby.
13 years from me at least.
Our school had a IB program, bro. So it was like for all the smart kids. So like
what
all.
Is that?
So like it's like
what's
all.
IB?
So all the gifted children that are just super whiz kids. All had a program at our school.
I think it was called International Baccalaureate Program.
But their names were technically IB kids. Nothing but nerdy kids that were just into like textbooks and just learning about things.
And roller backpacks.
For real. So these niggas were rolling around with their roller back. So I never dwelled with them because but they were the hardiest partying kids because they had the drugs on deck because every single one of them had problems.
I mean, you need the coat to stay up on those grades.
100%. You can't lie about that. And second, bro, I never went into photography. I went into ceramics. I got more into ceramics, and I took one photography class in my fucking high school existence.
It was digital photography, huh?
No, it was but I didn't do my own. Twisting, bro. I had homegirls in there.
When you use film?
Yeah. Oh. So my God. So we use film, but I think my IB class, she taught me a lot in there. So we learned actual putting the thing on there, bro. What's it called? A fixer. When you put it in the side of a thing, and
that's one of the chemicals.
Yes. And but she would make us write a 2-page essay about this, about a picture. So every 2 weeks we would turn in a main picture. And then write a 2-page essay on why.
So you learned the theoretical steps on how to do it, but you didn't actually do it.
Really did not do it. Yeah, bro. So it was more of a school vibe.
Oh yeah, I had.
It was all about the essays, pretty much at that point.
Yes, sir.
I had the hands-on process where we actually had to load our film into the camera, went out to take the pictures, doing the different apertures, settings, hitting those, blur out the background, focus on your main subject, whatever. And then take them to the dark room, learning the spinner canister thing.
What year and what city was this?
It was 2007 or 2008 that I did it.
I graduated in 08.
No, I graduated in 2010.
Yes, sir.
This was in Phoenix?
Oh, wait, yes, sir.
Yeah, Phoenix.
Okay.
Yeah, at North.
That's sick that they did that still.
Yeah.
Bro, facts. I think our school was the main inner city school at that time, man. And
y'all went to school together?
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
I've watched at least 20 of your podcasts, and you guys never mentioned that.
My God, yeah, we actually met in high school.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Shouts out to North, bro.
So I'm gonna have to talk to you to get dirt on LA.
I would say he's pretty much one of my main mentors. He was one of my idols.
Yes,
and, if you want a little bit of dirt, there's very little bit of dirt that I have.
A little bit of dirt
that hasn't already been exposed already.
Oh my God! If you haven't gone back and looked at Ollie's YouTube videos, if you want to laugh really hard at Little Ollie,
oh shit,
bro! I swear to God,
just go back. It's all cataloged there for you on YouTube. Shout out your YouTube real quick.
Yo, it's Lomain is I LOWMEIN.
It's amazing.
Watch
it's amazing.
It.
It's so innocent.
Brian put up. I had a video, bro. I did my. I actually held my breath for a minute. I was like, man, I need to go on YouTube.
It's a video that's a minute,
hard.
1 second.
The actual 1 second is
It was.
Oh my God.
Bro.
Did y'all smoke tonight?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
And one of the main things, or like one of the dopest things, is like that. Like it was the very first video, not even that type of hard. And Brian takes a screenshot. He's like, first video, huh?
It's because I was dying. I mean,
Bro, I
literally
had
dying.
a YouTube channel that like I used to post all my bike clips on, and like since then I've stopped. But recently with photography, I kind of want to take a little bit of a step back from doing just stills and portraits and everything. I want to get a little bit more video focused because I want to start uploading back on YouTube again.
Dope, man. That's my next question for both you guys. Do you guys like shooting? And I know that I'm using the wrong, or using that reference very loosely here. Do you guys like shooting people or like shooting environments more?
Cars.
Woo!
Cars won't tell me that they look fat. Cars won't ask me to Photoshop them bigger or smaller.
That's so.
It just sits there and looks pretty.
I love that. And now,
Yeah.
Eric, that's very true because I see a lot of females nowadays probably asking for a lot of Photoshop to be going down with their
I
pictures.
have been asked everything under the sun.
Oh my God.
I used to have a side hustle. Photography was never my main job, but I made a lot of money doing photography. So I actually have a website. Not a lot of people know this. It's 602pix.com.
Dang.
But
I did not know this.
But it's barren. You can go there, and I just have like one photo for each category. I used to have a different website. It's a long story. I'm not trying to even plug it or anything like that.
You can plug the OnlyFans if you need to.
Yeah. Just my YouTube and Instagram. At Tuesday's Turn. But yeah, so long story short, I used to make decent money doing photography. Obviously, Ollie didn't know this because he thought I was new in the photography world.
For real, bro.
Yeah, no, I used to make quite a bit of money. So most of the photography that I made some loot with was family portraits.
Nice.
So what I would do is I always had an off-camera flash and an umbrella. I never did a softbox. Have you ever shot with softboxes?
I have. I like umbrellas a little bit better.
The softboxes I think the softboxes are better. So it's a box that the flash goes in and it diffuses the light. But softboxes are heavy, they're big, and umbrellas are just real easy to set up. The only thing is if it's windy, it'll just take that thing over. So
Okay.
I used to actually have sandbags that I would take with me on these shoots.
Hold it down.
Yeah, they had rocks in them. So I would have a stand with an umbrella and my flash would be on there. And then I would put these bags over the little tripod legs so that it wouldn't. I had sometimes I was shooting on windy days and it would literally buckle the umbrella.
Damn.
Because of the sandbags. Anyway. So yeah, I don't even know how we got on this subject, but
family portraits.
yeah, family portraits. I shot.
Softbox.
Because you were talking about photoshopping.
Oh, okay.
I can concur. That was my main kind of gripe with shooting portraits, whether it's a man, a woman, or a family. Obviously not kids, but so what I would usually do is this was about probably 10 years ago. I don't do this anymore, but what I would do is I'd go out with the family. And I want to ask Eric about this because he's a professional photographer. But what I did was my price included 2 hours and like 10 edits.
Okay.
So I would go out with the family. We would usually only shoot for about an hour, hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours because that's what I promised them. But I would mostly shoot at sunset. So, usually would run out of time before I hit 2 hours. And I would explain all this to them before we started the shoot. When I never did actual contracts, but I would do emails where everything was, agreed upon. So we would go out, we'd shoot the photos. I would go home, I would put them all on a disc or a USB thumb drive, and I would edit like 10 of the best ones. And then sometimes I would give them the opportunity to pick their 10 that they wanted me to edit or whatever. But sometimes it was a nightmare, they weren't happy with their wrinkles or whatever. So yeah, go ahead.
They never are. So one big thing about the way I shoot in particular is I like to keep everything as real as possible. Like I don't like to shoot this crazy, super warm style. Every photographer's got their own style, obviously, but I like to just think of it as an enhanced version of what you'd see with your eyes.
Yes, sir.
So I get a lot of people asking, can you make me smaller? Can you make me do this? Can you take this away? The only thing I will clear up is acne and scars. I will clear those up for people all day long, but I've had people say, can you make my boobs look bigger or smaller? Can you...
I've had that.
Yeah, can you make me look taller? Can you do this and that? Like, there's things you can do with angles. Like, I shoot shorter people a little lower just to make them seem a little bit taller. If somebody's tall and insecure about it, I'll shoot them higher so they look a little shorter. But it's all just things that'll complement the way they look. Not anything... I'm not going to go and put fucking
Alter
a
you.
4PF chain on you. Like, I'm
For
not going to Photoshop you in with little baby right there.
Well, even
At
just
the
like
Super Bowl.
This is clean.
This came out in, I believe, the 80s.
So which camera do you have here?
The Pentax K1000.
Show me the front.
So everything works perfectly too. This is probably the best conditioned one that I've seen in person myself.
Okay, show them how to load the film.
You lift up the little tab right here. This is for your winder, so when you're done with it, you kind of wind your film back. You pull it up when you're ready to pop it out. The little door will open. You can see right here, it'll advance the film and open when you take a photo.
You put the film canister in here, and then the film, or the film canister in here.
Canister goes here, and it loads onto these little teeth.
So that first part of the film is no good because the light, it'll just be, you know, bright white basically.
It's
I'll
like
make
a
the shutter
tester?
slow so you can see it open too.
Yeah, that's the shutter.
Oh, that's so cool.
So whatever he has it set at, like 1,000th of a second or whatever.
I think the timer on this thing still works too, if it had one. Or no, that's my other one. Got another one with a timer on it. And if you make the shutter a whole lot faster, it closes a lot faster.
So are you recording in the mics?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I am a guy.
So now's a good time to talk about film settings. So obviously, this is the film speed here. And it's funny, I was talking about 1600 earlier because this camera only goes to 1,000. So when I was shooting a lot of skateboarding in the 90s, I would shoot with 1600 speed film a lot. Is that your GoPro?
I'm trying to turn it back on.
So, like if I had 1600 speed film in here, I would have to know this camera doesn't go up to 1600, so I'd have to manually adjust for that. Like in my brain, I would have to figure out it would need to go like at a higher shutter speed or a slower shutter speed.
At that time, now when did this camera first come out, bro?
I believe the early 80s.
The early, okay. Wow.
For this camera.
So, but anyway, back to settings. So you put your film in, and the first thing you would do is set the film speed here, which is ISO on a digital camera. It's the same
on the
thing.
earlier cameras, it comes out as ASA.
Or ASA, yeah. And then, so the light meter inside the camera would tell you, you know, you would set the aperture, which is here.
On this inside ring. So 1.7 is obviously very shallow, that you're gonna let a lot more light in that's exposed to it.
Okay.
If it's a little bit brighter outside, you go to something like 16 or 22, whatever your camera will go up to. Then you have the focus ring outside of here, which rotates and lets you focus on whatever you're trying to shoot.
Now, is the focus ring more on like depth, man? Like, is it watching the perception of? Like,
yeah, it's watching the perception. So if I'm trying to focus on the backpack, I'll turn it to something right in the middle.
Okay.
So if you see now, if you look through right there, the
Mm.
backpack will be in focus. You can play with the ring too, and it'll go out of focus.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so like, but you can choose what to
Yeah, you
kind
gotta
of focus
find
on. Okay.
So can you choose shutter speed on this camera?
Yeah. Shutter speed goes up to 1,000. You just turn that dial
Oh, okay.
to change the.
Oh, so this
ISO.
is shutter speed, not ISO?
ISO for this one, you're gonna raise this ring.
Oh, gotcha.
And turn it on that
okay.
inside
Oh,
dial.
yeah, I see it there.
Yeah. And then you have your photo count right there, how many exposures you have left.
So for example, once you start to learn your camera, how I was talking earlier, if it's telling you, okay, at this ISO and this aperture, this is what your shutter speed needs to be. But let's say you're shooting action, basketball, football, skateboarding, whatever it is.
Right.
you're gonna know in your head, I need the shutter to be a little faster than normal to capture that action.
Okay.
So those are things you learn about your camera over time.
So if your subject is moving faster, you just need to catch it at a more faster rate.
It's the same with DSLRs nowadays. Digital SLR is single lens reflex. So it's the same with digital SLRs, and it's the same with video. Video is a whole nother beast, but when you're shooting video,
I haven't even got into this yet. This is operational, but I've never used it myself to actually film anything.
Now, what do you even call this, man? Yeah.
This is a Kodak Super 8 camera.
That looks so cool.
So I personally don't know a whole lot about it. This was a gift to me. But is this a light? Like, I've never known these right here.
That's probably the light meter.
Oh, you know what? That might be the light meter.
So that's where it's reading how much light is in front of the camera, basically.
Okay.
So instead of being able to shoot, I have wide angle, normal, and telephoto. That's how I change all my focal range right there. And when you look through the viewfinder, there's 3 separate squares.
Okay.
And you just got to know which one you're at. So if you're all the way out, obviously you're at the widest.
Okay.
But yeah, you'll see that there.
Now, is this how they used to record a lot of videos back in the days where, like...
Yeah, before any kind of other video camera, this is all you really had, like home video. You start that and I know you can hear it.
Those green levels aren't moving that much when he was just talking a second ago. But.
Oh my God. And it sounds like the good old shutter.
Yeah.
Wow. That is so cool.
So that's the motor moving the film through at 24 frames a second, because old film cameras would shoot 24 frames a second.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so when you have a digital video camera nowadays, you have different frame rates. 24 frames a second is going to give you the most cinematographic. It's going to look kind of like a movie. It's going to have a movie effect, like a film effect. But most cameras nowadays are shooting at 30 frames or 60 frames a second, which is going to give sharper images for motion.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and then you can do also 120 frames a second, and then you can have super slow motion, 240 and stuff like that.
For like all the good old classic like skateboarding videos that you want to show skills on. Okay. Cool.
Most sports photographers who are shooting video are shooting at 60 frames a second. If you have a really expensive camera and you know you're going to be doing a lot of slow motion, you're going to be shooting at 120 frames a second.
Wow, okay.
The average person, like the average cell phone, is going to be 30 frames a second.
Yeah, they're at 30. I know some of the newer iPhones go up to 60.
Yeah. A lot of cameras do 60 nowadays. But you don't need to shoot...
our phones. Wow.
Yeah. You don't need to shoot at 60 if you're not doing any motion.
Okay.
So, and if you want it to look more, have more of a film look or more of a movie look, you'll shoot at 24 frames a second. You can also shoot at 30 and then edit at 24, which is a whole different topic. We won't even get into that because we don't have enough time. But can I see your film camera one more time?
Yeah. That one or the Pentax?
No, the Pentax.
Oh, it's right there.
So here you go. You hold it. I want to just get a close-up of the aperture. Can you explain to them how aperture works?
Please.
So your aperture is going to be... It goes from typically 1 point something to about 22. 22 being as closed off as you can, so it lets the least amount of light in, but you get the focus from all of your background. So if you're shooting a cityscape, you're going to get everything from the foreground to the background. But if you're at something closed off like a 1.7, then I'm just going to only get you right here in front of me. All the rest of the background will be blurred around you.
Cool, okay.
So that's the shallower depth of field. Over here, if I want to get a lot more detail, I'll go up to that.
Okay.
And depth of field is a side effect to how open the lens is. So do you mind taking that lens off and showing them?
Yep.
So when he says 1.8 or like 1.4, 1.8, 2.0 or 2.8, those are like more expensive lenses that let a lot of light in. Sorry, no, the lens, the actual lens.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna see if we can see how much light is coming through. So what is it at now? Like 22?
It's at about, what are we at? Yeah, we're at 22. So you can see it's not letting a whole whole lot of light and
You
it's
see how
really closed
small
off.
that little hole is?
And now if I...
No, open it up.
I'm trying to do it without the actual
Oh,
camera being... Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there it goes.
And now it's a whole lot wider.
So you can't really tell. Let me try and film it while you move it.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
you go.
you can see it moving. Oh wow. Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to look through there.
That's so. Oh, you can add. Whoa.
So you see when it opens up, it's letting more light in, which means you can shoot in darker situations. But when it's open like that, everything gets blurrier, easier, which is the depth of field he's talking about. You can still focus in on one little area, but everything else is kind of blurry in the background, which a lot of people like that effect, right? But the thing about that is it's easier for images to be blurry overall. So yeah, go ahead.
So to show you on the digital, that way it's easier to change.
Yes, sir.
So if you see the beer right there, that's just what's in focus. It's just the beer. Everything else around it is out of focus. If I go up to let's say F13, and I go back, I'm getting a lot more of the chair. I'm getting the keys and everything else in the background.
Everything on it. Okay. Wow. So, if
It's letting less light in.
Okay.
It's going to be a sharper image.
Now you would only use that at night times, right? Because I can see that going horribly wrong with like the sun. Because
No.
Okay. Wow.
No.
Okay.
You just have to counterbalance it with your other settings. So like shutter speed or your ISO.
Or something which I have in my camera bag.
Yes, sir. Please show us.
Which is an ND filter. You ever use ND filters?
So I thought I went and bought one, and it turns out I bought a UV filter, which is no tint in it at all.
Yeah.
It's just a clear filter that protects from like some UV rays. It's kind of the
Yeah, it protects the lens and it.
yeah. That's the best thing. It's used good for.
I use them too. So
Now, Brian, how
now's
we
a
look?
good day to do not a day. Now's a good time to do a. What do they call that? Like a bag check.
Oh, back.
This is my camera bag. So this is my camera bag that I use all the time. I didn't look in here. I didn't put anything extra in here. This is how I always carry my camera. So this main compartment here, I have my camera, which is a
That's double protected.
yeah,
That's cool.
which is a Sony A7C.
Yes, sir.
This is just a DSLR ND filter. Actually, I don't have with me. Now that I think about it, it's in a different bag, and I only bring it on certain situations. Dang it.
Now, what is an ND filter for people like me?
Okay, so an ND filter is it's basically like a gray or almost black filter that goes on the front of your lens. And what that allows you to do is shoot in daylight, but it allows you to open up that aperture so that you can have a blurry background.
Okay.
Because most people like that creamy, blurry background. But if you're shooting in daylight, you can't open up your lens all the way. It's letting too much light in, even with a fast shutter speed.
It would
So you use an ND filter, and there's ND filters that are set at a certain darkness, and there's variable ND filters. Variable ND filters have a ring on them, and when you turn it, it gets darker and darker and darker until it's black. So
makes sense.
yeah, I don't want to get too into it because it's really technical. But when I shoot video during the daylight, I always have an ND filter on my camera.
It's essentially like sunglasses for your lens.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes,
But
sir.
ND also stands for neutral density.
Ooh.
Of that, I still don't really know too much.
What is? I appreciate
Sunglasses
you on
for your
that.
lens.
Yes.
So real quick, bag check.
Back check.
I've got my camera. I've got these little LED lights.
Are those the NAND lights?
I don't know. They're
I
just.
think they are. Yeah, they are.
I mean, the company says VGene. They're just.
Nice.
They have not only brightness settings, but they also have color temperature settings. And this, you know, we were talking about softboxes earlier. This acts kind of like a softbox or a diffuser. This right here, it makes the light softer, basically.
Okay.
It just kind of spreads it out more. So you know, like if you point it right at your face, it's gonna just blow out all the highlights of your face. If you hold it a little further away, to spread it out more to evenly light whatever you're trying to light up.
So I don't have any zoom lenses. I want to get so professional zoom lenses are really expensive. So these are called prime lenses. You can't zoom in and zoom out. It's just a fixed focal length.
Prime gang.
Yeah. This is a 24, and then in here I have a 50.
24.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get them out. And then I have the same 85 that Eric. Actually, this is the 50, and that's this is the 85. Anyway, this is what I wanted to show you.
If you ever want to rent your 24 to me, let me know.
Oh yeah, you can borrow.
Now, I'm gonna ask y'all a question right after about lenses because we need definitely.
No, go ahead. We can stay on lenses.
No, because my main question, man, is are we changing lenses for more zooming or just lenses just kind of change the whole game up?
It depends. Like I change my lenses just to change the feel of what I'm getting. For the most part, I shoot with an 85 just because I like how punched in it gets. Like I'll be really zoomed in on pretty much whatever's in that table 10 feet away, and I'll get a whole lot of detail of things that are really far away. So if I want to get a full body shot of somebody, I can get details from head to toe at a lot crispier of a rate. Like I can focus on just that person in particular, not so much the city background around them, or whatever's surrounding them.
I like that.
But if I want to get a group of people or a lot of people or a car or something else, I'll use a little bit wider lens.
Nice. Okay.
So the more zoomed in you are, the higher up you go in millimeters.
Okay.
So 85 is pretty zoomed in. Something like a 24 is going to be really wide. So you want to get like a group of people if you're doing a couple shoot, a wedding, something where the scenery is involved.
The whole kind of, okay. Dope.
Yeah, if you, on my YouTube page, if you've seen any of my bike videos where I'm following people around, I'm always shooting with this 24 millimeter lens. And the reason is because, so my 50 millimeter lens actually looks better. I'll just pull it out.
Is that a full frame camera?
Yeah, it's full frame. So my 50 millimeter lens actually looks better, and it has more of a blurred out background, but I can't get as close to you. So with a 24 millimeter lens, I can get all of you from right here.
Nice, okay.
A 50 millimeter lens, I'll need to be about right here.
Just to have it.
85 millimeter lens, I'll need to be like back here.
Okay.
But the 85 millimeter lens with the 1.8 is going to be sharper. This is a 2.8 lens, so it won't let as much light in, and it's not as sharp at lower apertures. We're getting really technical. But basically, when I'm riding around on my bicycle, I can't have a 50 or an 85 on in normal situations because then I'll be over in the lane where the cars are.
It makes a lot of sense. Okay.
If you're...
and then trying to focus on whatever you're shooting, you're going to have to be a whole lot more precise on where exactly you are. Because if I do one little movement, I'll lose your whole face.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that beep?
I think it was my...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man, this one again.
That one's okay, right?
Yeah,
I have one more battery on that.
Yes, sir. We have
61. All these cameras and stuff's beeping. Yeah, so the wider the angle is also used for a lot of sports, action sports. So skateboarding, BMX,
okay,
stuff like that. Because the wider the angle, and especially the lower you are, the bigger it makes things look. So picture a skateboarder going down some stairs. And if you have a wide angle lens or a fisheye lens, which is a super wide angle lens with a lot of distortion, it's going to make the stairs look bigger. It's going to make the jump look bigger.
Now, thank you for hitting that right on the head, my guy, because growing up watching all those skating videos, you would always see the homie holding a camera down here, and I never understood that. Like, he's riding right
with
by the
big
dude.
lens?
Yes.
That's called a depth lens, which is a huge fisheye lens.
Wow. Okay. And that's the reason why. That's so cool, Brian. Thank you.
It makes everything look bigger, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, so if he's jumping off a curb, it looks like he's jumping off like something twice as high.
Mount Rushmore.
So I haven't even seen an A7C like in person just because nobody I know has had one. It's crazy the size difference between like an R2 because that's more video focused than mine.
That's so cool.
I took the grip off of mine for reference.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a lot wider.
So
now are these the same or are these the same cameras?
No, they're different.
Okay.
Same maker, just different models.
Okay.
His is a little bit more video focused. It's better at shooting videos than mine's a little bit better at still images.
It's still that's so cool.
So this was designed primarily for photography. This was designed as an in-between. And then Sony also makes cameras that are designed primarily for video.
Video, okay.
So the reason I got this camera is because It's the cheapest full frame camera that Sony makes now, currently. And I know at some point I'm going to drop it, or I'm going to fall on my bike. I know it's going to happen. I don't know when.
Don't jinx it.
If your cameras are expensive, please get insurance.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would like a more expensive lens, but more expensive lenses are bigger, heavier, and if I fall, they're going to cost me more out of my pocket to replace, right?
Yes, sir.
So I purposefully bought this. This isn't the best lens Sony makes. It's a $600 lens. You can get it cheaper with rebates and stuff. But I purposefully bought this lens because I didn't want an ultra wide. So this is considered a wide angle. So there's ultra wide, wide angle, like standard, and then telephoto. So normal perspective from the human eye, they say is like 35 millimeter. 35 to 50. This is a 24, so it's a wide angle lens. So
gets more of a in-depth picture in it.
Yeah. So I wanted to get back to your career basically, and so you obviously do more photography than video, right?
Yeah.
Because we should have said this at the beginning, but I don't know Eric that well. I've ridden bikes with him,
handful of times. We ran into
4 or
each
5
other
times.
sometimes.
That's so dope.
But he's friends with a lot of my friends, and I know you guys both ride fixed.
Yeah.
I did want to get into that too, bro. Just a light. I don't want to get too. I don't want to get too into the bike game, but my God, just right by the controller.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get too into the bike game, man, but I just get really happy knowing that there's another person that kind of follows the same kind of standard that I do, bro. I fell in love with fixed gears. I think the very first time that I've ever met Eric, I did meet you on the fixed gear, bro.
Yeah.
I seen you do the Keo spin, and after that, I was like, bro, like that shit alone is hands down super dope to me. My God, why did you choose fixed gears over every other bike out there?
So I started off like the typical kid with like the Walmart BMX bike riding into school and back. And every time I'd ride back, I saw a group of teenagers. Well, I was a 7th grader at the time, just getting into middle school. These guys were like seniors. So I was like, oh, those guys are so cool. They're sick. And I saw this dude going backwards on a fixed gear bike. And I was like, holy shit, I'll never be able to do that. That guy is the shit. Like, he is so cool.
Right.
And later on, I told my mom that I wanted one. I eventually got one for my birthday, and I fell in love with it. It was the sickest thing.
Dope.
So like, growing up, we didn't have a whole lot of money. We didn't even have a car, so we were walking most places. Getting a bike was like my freedom. So I lived maybe it was like a 12-mile ride from the beach. So me and my buddies got a bike all around the same time. So we'd hop on the riverbed and go. Pretty much the Arizona version of like the canals here. So we'd hop on there, ride all the way down to the beach at like 5 in the morning. Slam McDonald's with the like $10 that we had and head back. And it was so cool. Started watching all these like Macaframa videos, like the early fixed gear tricks.
Yes, sir.
And I got super inspired by that. So I just pretty much adapted what I did into skating into that, which is like I don't stop until I get it. And so I just kept doing it. So now I'm at that point where I'm trying to get it as consistently as I can to where I land it more times than I don't.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because a lot of my old skater friends are in the film and video world and also editing. All my friends are like either tattoo artists or like in LA doing video and photography work. It seems like. But you mentioned how we don't stop till we get the job done. That's something you learn as a skateboarder, which you know.
Yes,
it's
sir.
Like the weak ones get weeded out real early, right?
Yeah.
All those friends who come and go. Yeah. But the real ones stick with it. They're tough, right? They're tough and resilient. And we apply those principles in all of our careers. It's not just photography. But you're right. It's like a lot of trial and error, and we stick with it until we get what we need.
That's a good thing too. It's like a good trait to have, though. A lot of the the dedicated skaters that I've met have gone on to live like really good professional lives because they're really hardworking, they're really diligent, and it's just these personality traits that we don't even realize we're bringing into our adult life from just being a kid, from throwing yourself off the same set of stairs for 2 hours until you get the trick right.
That's so true.
Because you'll sit there and do the same hard work as somebody else, but much better quality.
Exactly.
Because you hold yourself to a little bit of a higher standard.
And then you learn discipline by the end of the day, like by the end of all that, man. Because that's so true. I think, Ryan, but you're so right that there was. I can think about days now, bro, being a teenager and going home from the skate park like pissed, like just pissed. Like I didn't get it right today, but I'm definitely going back tomorrow. But today was not the day.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of summers just getting beat up at the skate park, all to the point where I don't even want to skate home. I'm walking my board in my hand, like just absolutely could.
Right, and it's even worse when you're trying to film something.
I'm into my adult life right now. If we go try to film a bike clip, I'm trash. I get like some kind of camera shy, as ironic as it is. Mm-hmm. I just can't land anything under the pressure of a camera. Even if it's my buddy holding the phone up.
You're posting stories.
It takes so long to get these clips.
Oh my god!
Like, it's not all glitz and glamour. Like I got more video. That's why I like to post videos of me falling, because it happens more often than not. Like I don't want to post just me landing a bunch of bangers all day, because that's not who I am. Like I eat shit, I fall down. It's part of what I do, skating or biking.
But the trick that you do, man, like specifically the Keo spin that like I seen my guy like Eric, I think from a scale from 1 to 10 being on difficulty, that's like 1,000 on a difficulty. And bro, you get that down effortless. Like
I've spent a lot of hours learning that. Shout out the late Keo Curry.
Yes, sir.
I will never be able to repay him for teaching me that. That's like if you see the kids on the big bikes doing like the death spins, they hang their foot off, that derived from the Keo spin.
Dope. Okay.
So they couldn't figure out a way to roll backwards and do it, so they rolled forward and did it.
That's so okay.
And it went back to fixed gears because we learned a thing called the big spin, which I still can't do. Mm-hmm. It's where you ride and you act like you're gonna wheelie, but you end up rolling right backwards. It's the weirdest like pump fake of a trick ever, and I still want to learn it, but
it'll come in handy at one day.
It'll come in handy one day. I'll eventually learn it, but
yes, sir.
It was hard. I fell a lot of times, just ate a lot of shit doing it. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't get like hip to like the fixed gear history until I was a little bit later, until I already knew the trick.
Okay.
And when Keo Curry died,
God bless the dead.
I want to say it was like 2017, 2018. Mm-hmm. He passed away and everyone was posting his Instagram. I never knew what his Instagram was. Mm-hmm. And I clicked on his profile and I didn't realize he was following me. Like
that
the one person that I owe it all to, anything that I've accomplished through bikes, whatever it may be, the one person I would have owed it to, I didn't even realize that he was like paying attention to me, which was like the biggest compliment. But I also felt it real heavy when I realized, like, damn, I don't even follow this guy back. Like,
bro, literal chills right now.
it was really heavy.
That's so dope.
I owe that dude a lot.
Shouts out to him, bro. I first, when I was getting into fixed gears, he was one of the main people that pushed it. I seen a trailer, bro. I got my bike first. I was like, I'm just gonna ride around for freedom. Like, I'm just gonna enjoy this. And then out of nowhere, I see the trailer for To Live or Ride in LA.
Oh,
and
man.
Bro, and there was some motherfucker on the highway, and then right after that, I seen Keo. I was like, I'm going to Venice. Bro, the same summer I was in Venice, met the guy. After that, bro, I was like, this is my calling. Like, I have to do this, like.
What year was this?
2012.
Man,
yeah, my guy, 20.
I think I started riding in about 2014. Mm-hmm. So somewhere around there.
And you were in California.
Yeah, I was part of like the second fixed gear wave. Then it died out, and I don't think it's really come back as much. Mm-hmm. The big bikes have kind of taken over, like the 29ers, the Throne guys.
Yes, sir.
Throne started out predominantly as a fixed gear brand. Like, they were only fixed gear. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anybody knows that, anybody that's maybe recently got into it, but that was the way they started. Me and Throne have a little funny relationship. I just recently got off their blocked list.
Shouts out to Throne.
Shout out for getting me unblocked. When I was a teenager, I was like 17, and I started riding for Unknown. Mm-hmm. But it was always this big Throne versus Unknown kind of rivalry. Like, there were competitor brands. Mm-hmm. One of them would copy the other one's style, or like a straight up design of a frame or a part or something. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of mostly me. I was a little shit when I was like 17. So I was like, oh yeah, we fucking had that in 2012. Like, look at the fork design. Look at the Like,
that shit.
Look at the manufacturer date. Like, we fucking had it way before.
Yes, sir.
Talking shit, and they ended up blocking me. But ironically, that was like around the time I met Blockboy Fame when he was starting to ride for Throne, going from state bikes, and we became cool. I haven't talked to the guy in a lot of years, but I used to go to all the rides, and that was kind of where I built any little buzz that I have on like Instagram or whatever.
That's dope.
From those bikes. But I think I've been with Unknown the last 5 years technically, because they sent me a bike most recently a few months ago. It was like my first ride when I met you on that new bike.
Wow,
that was like the first time they had just sent it to me from Korea.
And that shit was clean, bro. That
I
was
appreciate
clean.
You're talking about the current one, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you say it was like the only one in the country at that time or something?
Bro, it's clean,
Yeah,
bro, right?
technically it's the only one in the country. It's an Unknown RSF, so it's a full carbon track bike. But they don't.
Okay, we gotta cut the bike.
Yeah, we can't.
We're getting back to the bike
photography podcast.
We're talking about photos today.
But I wanted to mention back to skateboarding and growing up, and a lot of us getting into photography. That was rad that you mentioned that. I mean, I already knew that you skated because I've seen you doing your 360 bonuses and
Shout out Mike Valeli.
Shouts out to that man, yes sir. Now, bro, do you guys now in this realm, are you guys trying to go more digital, or are you guys still trying to keep the film?
Like I said, I haven't done anything with film in over 10 years. So I would love to, but it's so expensive.
So on my end, digital, I have to accept it whether I like it or not. It's the bread and butter of what's continuing to happen. That's why I'm just trying to go more video focused, because no one appreciates stills anymore.
Right.
I do, but at the same time, you know, if I want to make a business out of it, it's not going to be what's beneficial to me. I have to move with the times. I have to adapt and move along with it. So that's why I want to go more video focused, because since TikTok and everything, Instagram Reels came out, everybody's focused on an 8-second clip that's going to keep your attention.
Yes, sir.
That's all they care about. But I do have a major respect for film photography and how difficult it is, and everybody that came from that when there was nothing else available.
Yes, sir.
Before social media, before they cared about being the cool photographer, like when they really just wanted to capture their friends in a good time. So I have like an ultimate respect for that. So that's why I continue to shoot film and like build my collection of film cameras.
Can you talk about your photography career? Like, when did it blow up, and also Instagram? Because I know you have almost like 10,000 followers or something.
So I made
Drop the IG on us, man.
My Instagram is Evrgold, but yeah, I'm at like 9,200 or something, and this was like only recently too. Like a couple weeks ago, I was at 6,000.
Let's go.
Oh, because you have like a 2 million.
So I posted a video that got like 3 million views. So like a ton of people have been following.
Hell yeah.
But even 6,000 is still.
It's so funny because when I was doing bikes, I was at 9,800 and some change, and I was getting ready to do a 10K giveaway. This was all like a precursor to what's happening now. Because if you...
What year was this?
This was 2018, 19.
Okay.
So, like you guys know, my Instagram name is Evrgold. So I've always had this idea of making a gold bike. I have 3 colorways that exist for me from Unknown that nobody knows about. There's a black and gold colorway that was going to be my signature bike when Unknown dropped it. It was just going to be literally the EVR Gold. But the relationship with Unknown, they weren't as active on their end, so it never got released as that. It just got released as a current frame. So there's a black and gold Unknown out there that's technically my signature color. I created the pink Unknown, but it was so funny because I photoshopped my green bike pink, and then I was like, yo, let's pick this out of a color book and let's make it for real. We did. Our production got delayed, and Throne dropped a pink bike with the same exact like tubage frame shape that we have right before us.
It was just a coincidence?
In a shittier color.
Okay.
I don't care. Like I love 40, love Throne, whatever. Shittier color. Our shade was better, but we dropped our pink bike and it went crazy. So like every pink Unknown that you see out there has either been inside my car or been touched by my hands.
Dope.
Because there's only one warehouse in the U.S. So that was the cool thing. And there's a teal and black Unknown that got made. That was the secondary color from the gold one that I thought of. But that happened. What was the original question? I got sidetracked.
Just your career, like.
Okay.
Everyone's interested in numbers also. So
I
talk
know
about
everything about it too.
So talk about your photography career.
Okay.
And your numbers.
I'll lead the bikes into that then. So I was at 9800. I made this gold colorway, and I was getting ready to give one away. I was going to give away a complete bike when I hit 10K. Then I got overwhelmed with like photography stuff. I nerded out and dove real deep into it.
And this was like 2018, you said?
Late 2018, early 2019.
So were you making money in photography before that?
No, I didn't even. I was still filming handheld videos with my iPhone 6.
Okay.
Dope. Okay.
Of just like the homies riding and everything, putting them on my YouTube. And then I decided like I want to go legit with this. Let me get a camera. So I picked up my first Sony A6000 around that time, which is about 4 or 5 years ago now.
It's a crop sensor?
Yeah, APS-C, crop sensor, camera. Picked it up for like $500. So very first camera, started shooting photos. I would hit up all my friends like, yo, let's go hang out, let me take photos of you. Like any and everybody. I just started building up photos. People were like, yo, you're really good. You have a great eye, which is like the biggest compliment to get as a photographer.
Were you shooting with a flash then?
No, I was just shooting all natural light, as I've still been actually. I don't really use flash unless I'm doing like a wedding or something. But
wow, good to know.
But yeah, so all natural light. Shot that, started slowly upgrading my camera. COVID happened, and then I've invested every stimulus check that I've gotten from the government back into my business.
Wow.
So I've taken all that money. If it's gonna come to me for free without working for it, I'm gonna put it back into making more money for me in the end.
Message, people.
I cannot justify just blowing it on like, you know the way they say like the stimulus came and y'all chose crab legs. Like no.
Yes, sir. Right. Everyone ordered to-go food all that day.
Yeah. You went to Red Lobster and said, "Give me the lobster."
For real, bro. And I like hands down, I commend that till the day I fucking die, bro. Because you turned that around and put that right back into your craft. There's nothing more noble than that. So dope.
So the moment I really knew I wanted to go as legit as I could with it was I had an A7 II that had a high shutter count. It was like equivalent to a car having some mileage on it. It wasn't that great. So I got here. Oh no! I still have my A6000. I moved to North Carolina for a little while. Things did not happen there well.
I lived in Wilmington for 2 years.
Really? I lived in Laurinburg, a little bit away from Fayetteville. But
Carolinas.
basically, the way I got to Arizona was with $94, a camera bag with my A6000 in it, and a suitcase full of clothes. I had a couch to sleep on for my buddy Jonathan. That was all I had when I got here. So right around that time, we got our last like $1,200 stimulus check. Sold this camera, put that with the $1,200, and bought an A7 II and a lens.
Nice.
So as soon as I got here, I joined all the Facebook groups, messaged every photographer in the area, messaged every model.
So were you making money at this point?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm still working for free because I'm reestablishing myself in a new state.
Trying to get your name out
Yeah.
there.
What were you doing for work?
I didn't work for 2 weeks when I got here, and then I got my job that I still have, which is at Chewy. So I got a promotion there, but I was working as a regular like warehouse employee at the time. So I was doing that and trying to build as big of the network as I could. So that was happening, slowly building clients, like trying to get as much paid work as I could, just cold calling at that point. Then honestly, bikes is what picked up everything for me out here. I had a buddy, Gabe, Hella US. He used to live out in California with me. That's where we met and rode bikes. He moved to Arizona a few years back, and then I ended up moving out here.
Dope. Okay.
So we linked up again. He told me, "Hey, yo, come out. Like, there's these bike rides that happen out here. It'd be sick to get you back on a bike again." I was like, "Hell yeah!" Got out. I met Izzy and 40. They liked me. Izzy ended up giving me a free bike.
Dope.
Like literally as much of a steel frame as he could. I got that going.
You know he's homies with Izzy, right?
Yeah. So he gave me that.
Shout out Izzy.
Shout out Izzy. Big shout out Izzy.
Illest.
And I got riding again. That got me to know more people. So photography picked up around that too. Then I reached back out to my old sponsor of Unknown. They sent me the bike that I currently have back out from Korea with a contract for some new work too. And that's kind of where we're at right now with it.
So photography for you is a side job?
Yeah, pretty much. Just because I haven't.
For some reason, I thought it was your main source of income.
No, I haven't applied myself enough. I probably could if I really do. I have a friend.
I was in that same boat like 10 years ago.
I'm just dope. I just cannot bring myself to sit in front of a screen all day and market myself.
Me too. Also.
Everything I do has to be.
And I have a good job. It's not great, but
Yeah,
you know,
I
can't.
I feel
leave
like I have a
that
decent
to-
job for my age and where I am sitting right now currently, but I just
He wants to say
Now,
something.
like marketing in the aspect of like putting yourself out there and kind of showing your photos off to the world. And that-
putting yourself in front of a new audience around new clientele. So
okay.
I have a friend who she spent a few $100s, maybe even $1,000 plus, on Facebook ads.
Okay.
She put herself out there as a Scottsdale photographer, marketed herself to that demographic, and now she's booked out months in advance.
Damn, that's
She's-
good to know.
She's booked out months in
I
advance.
want to
She
talk to you
made-
about that offline.
She did like Christmas family photo meetings and made $20,000 in 3 months. Absolutely insane. Or two and a half months, something like that.
Hustler.
She made $20,000 in that short of a period of time. As much as that sounds tempting, I don't want to get burnt out on something I love. That's why I took a break.
Thank you. Thank you. I love photography, and that's why I never pursued it as a
I
profession.
take breaks from what I do. I took a break from bikes for 3 years. I took a break from skateboarding for about 3 to 4 years. And I set the camera down a couple years ago for about a year. But I can't seem to get away from the camera. I just love it too much.
I love that, man.
And my interest in it honestly came from bikes. Like everything is tied into each other, which is weird. Like bikes
Skateboarding for me.
Skateboarding started bikes, bikes started photography, and everything else.
Cool.
When I was riding for Unknown, they wanted me to model all the new bikes and everything else. So videos, photos, they hired photographers to come out. One of the first people I started shooting with was my buddy Jonathan Nunez. Shout out him in LA, J Nunez Media.
Dope.
Me and him started shooting. He had an A6000, which is the first camera that I got. So I got real interested in it. I was like, dude, that's sick. Like, let me play with your camera. Started taking photos, and I was eventually got myself one. And then that just came full circle into what it is today. And it's cool sitting down with you too, because we have all the same 3 interests, the same major 3 at least: skating, biking, and photos.
And photos. Now, it's cool that y'all don't want to, because I call Brian. I just have a term for it. I call it selling out. You know, and like and
100%.
Yes, sir. And I love people that don't sell out. You know, that just love the essence of the art rather than loving it for the currency that it brings in. And I think there's more of a love, and you can see the quality behind it when the person's more in tune with their art, man. Because all these people, there's a lot of people that I see nowadays, bro. They barely just got a camera yesterday, and then they start posting like they are
100%.
professional.
I cannot explain to you the amount of people that I've got a Canon Rebel T5. I'm calling
You're
all
right.
of them out by camera name.
Rebel, LOL.
Anyone who's had a Canon Rebel for a week and a half and said DM me for rates, I hate you so much. But there's a lot of people that get into all these hobbies for the wrong reasons. I've had skater friends who are like, dude, I just want to get sponsored, and like that'd be so sick. But that's all they
100%.
care about. They'll get pissed off if they don't land their trick because they want to get a clip for the sponsor. Same thing with bikes. I had a kid, he's made a little name for himself now. I'm just going to keep the names out of it just for the sake of being anonymous. But he always used to be in my DMs like, hey dude, how'd you get sponsored? Like, that'd be sick, that'd be cool, I love riding and all this and that. But he got into it for the wrong reasons, sold out per se. And
A lot of kids are like that.
Yeah, now he's got a following. I could have done the same thing if I would have shook a few hands that I didn't respect and made nice with a bunch of people that I didn't really stand behind.
Exactly.
I can't bring myself to do it. I just couldn't do it in person, so I'm not going to do it. That's why there's a group of people in the bike community that don't probably like me, that think whatever they may think of me, but it's fine. Everything I do is based around my happiness.
And it's genuine.
Yeah, I love what I do, and I'll step away from it if I feel like it's for the wrong reason.
I love that.
I do want to say with photography and selling out,
Oh my goodness gracious.
I have a big problem with people who sell out, don't get me wrong.
Yes, sir.
But with photography specifically, just because you want that to be your profession, I don't necessarily consider that selling out, right?
Yeah, true.
It's like people who don't really love it is what you're talking about.
Yeah, very true, man.
Right, but I think there's a lot of people who love it like we do, who don't want that to be their main source of income, either because they're scared or they don't want to sell out, stuff like that.
So true.
But there's a lot of professional photographers who really love what they do. I would say the majority of them probably do.
But that's what makes the greats.
Yeah.
That's what makes the Peter McKinnons and the
passion
Chris
behind it.
Howes and the Larry Chens of photography. They thoroughly enjoy what they do, and you can tell that in people's work. You can tell that in the way people skate, the way people ride their bike, and the way people shoot their photos.
So true.
You can tell how much passion they have into it versus someone who just wants to make money off of it. You can tell this overexposed, out of focus, just clapped out photo from somebody who's like, oh yeah, they paid me $40 for it, so you know I'm gonna shoot it. I don't care. Versus someone who's like, I really love the way this photo came out. I love the way the light wraps around this table, and it's a beautiful image.
Well, there's a lot of
just because they love the art so much.
As far as like hiring a photographer, it's kind of like a tattoo artist. You really need to do your
I love that.
your history.
Yes, sir.
Because
100%.
because there's a lot of, I used to call them, back in the day I would call them Craigslist photographers. And I know that's outdated. I know I'm dating
No, it's
myself.
still in there. It's still in there.
But you know, cameras are so good nowadays, and they have been for over 10 years. That a lot of people got into it to make money. They didn't really love photography. They didn't really know what they were doing. They just know if they point and shoot this instrument, they're going to get a decent image and they can get a good amount of money for that, right?
Yeah, they love the idea of charging somebody $100 an hour to shoot photos on auto.
Exactly.
Right. And bro, I see a lot of people, and thank you for saying Rebel, because those were the major commercials that I used to see back in the days. I see a lot of people just
Goddamn
doing that.
Canon Rebel.
Bro, and putting it out, and it's their first day on Photoshop talking about like, oh, everybody, it's so damn crazy, bro. Shouts out to that. Now, guys, before we do kind of end off our podcast, like, thank y'all so much.
Where are we at?
Man, a whole hour and 20 hours of change.
And you're usually at around 45. Usually, a lot of your videos have been short.
Oh my God, yes, sir. And
you
now,
haven't had any good guests on. Thank you for coming. Eric Evrgold, thank you.
Eric, I appreciate it.
Let's get into 10K.
Yes, sir.
Again.
I just want the swipe up feature in my story. That's it.
And just roll out, yes, sir.
I don't even know what that means.
So like when you hit 10,000 followers, you can do a thing where you put a link in your story and they just swipe up to watch it.
Oh.
So like if I put a YouTube video up, they can just swipe up and instantly start watching the video. That's all I want.
Bro, that's a dope ass feature.
Also, it used to be a link, period.
Also,
only
numbers-
certain people could have a link in there. Yeah.
Also, numbers on the internet aren't real. Don't base your self-worth off them. Thank you.
I've talked about that with Ali and his
his
hip hop friends who have 20,000 followers, but 3 views on each video.
Oh hell! Don't pay for followers either.
Shots fired.
Bro, so true though.
I'm also talking to everybody who bought the verification badge.
Thank you. That's my next thing to go into.
Come on.
Shout out to everybody playing the fucking Netflix subscription for their check. No, that's very
You better
true.
get your verification badge repoed if you don't pay.
Oh my God.
Hope the debit card hits.
So true. And I think but the main thing that we are all touching on, bro, that I try to yell to everybody is just genuineness.
Yep.
You know, and nobody has that anymore, bro. Either you got 20K followers but you get 1 like on your pictures, or you got 30 listens and like there's no comments under it. There's no genuine traction going on anymore. And so I do truly do appreciate the people that are out there fighting for the good fight, just like y'all, bro, because nowadays everybody, bro, just like you said, is paying for their shit. I'm paying for my followers because I can. I'm paying for my plays because I can. But does that really serve my soul any justice by the end of the day?
No, it just creates half-assed artists.
Right. Bro, that's so right. And I think by the end of it, we all want that je ne sais quoi of acknowledgement. And am I really getting that acknowledgement with that fake shit?
No, that's all we're doing is purchasing our own validation.
Yes, sir.
We're making ourselves feel better because I got 90,000 people that virtually think I'm something.
Exactly.
That way, when I introduce myself to this person in real life, I suck, but he sees 90K in front of my name, so he's gonna think I'm some kind of worthy.
Yes, sir. Of that caliber, people. Archive's looking right back at you,
But
Brian.
yeah,
like,
it's not worth anything if you're a shitty person.
100%. It goes with the spirit, and a lot of us can definitely tell by your spirit, ladies and gentlemen. And with that being said, bro, I am inside of a room with 2 great spirits, and I would love for you guys to drop your socials, man. And if you guys have any last words for the people out there, I hate being like that parent now.
We didn't talk about music.
Bro, we did. We always forget this.
No, we don't always forget. You always ask about music.
Before we leave somewhere, let's talk about some quick music. Now,
Hey, I got to shout out the best album of 2023. I'm calling it. It's the Co-Defendants.
by who?
That's the name of the group.
Okay.
It's Co-Defendants.
My God,
So,
okay.
So Fat Mike from NoFX.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, one of the biggest groups in the world, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fat Mike from NoFX teamed up with a couple very talented musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Chesky, which is a hip hop musician from Connecticut,
Mm-hmm.
and Sam from Get Dead. So just co-defendants, check them out. They came, they played in Mesa. It was the best show I've ever seen in my entire life. Go check them out.
Was that the show that you went to 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, that's dope. Okay.
It's punk and hip hop mixed together.
What?
Done right.
That is where I need to be. That's exactly where the fuck I need to be.
Ask him about his music. I gotta go.
Yes, sir. Now, what time? My guy Eric, we always talk about one thing on this show, bro, and all of us ride bikes. So all of us mostly got our earphones in all the time that we do ride bikes. Mm-hmm. Now, which types of what is your playlist consisting of when you're on your bike, or maybe off your bike too, bro?
So it depends. I don't really listen to music when I ride anymore. I used to when I would ride alone a lot, just because I didn't have anything else to listen to. Right now, I want to be paying attention to traffic. Mm-hmm. But I listen to a lot of weird shit. So it's like mostly hip hop, rap based. But it's just like artists that a lot of people don't really know about. Not trying to like a hipster, you don't know about it kind of thing. It's
yes, sir.
Like I enjoy this person's music, even though a lot of people may not.
Yes, sir.
So like I listen to a lot of Toby Lou. I listen to Joey Purr.
I like
who else? Let's see
yes, sir.
Let me open up my Spotify real quick.
And shouts out to that, man. I think that like the hipster generation is dying, but we're still out here. You know, tell the people we're still out here.
Another artist I really like that is really unrecognized is Kodo the Friend. He makes really good music. I love his music. I listen to a lot of Vince Staples too, just that's mostly because I'm from Long Beach.
I was just about to ask you that. Yes, sir.
A little bit of Tyler. I used to listen to a lot of Earl Sweatshirt. It's mostly a Mine. It's a good mix of all that, pretty much.
And those early 2010s, man, from exactly where you grew up was a hot spot of hip hop, man. It was so beautiful, bro. Ranging from Vince Staples, because he's in my top 10, and Tyler, man.
I'm glad not a lot of people listen to Vince Staples,
bro, for real, man. And like the classic Vince Staples, you know, like that.
Oh yeah. Summertime 06 type of Hell Can Wait, like.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The new stuff is good too, though. Like I haven't really seen Vince Staples miss. Like Ramona Park Broke My Heart was crazy.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Vince Staples album was crazy.
Get Back, I think that song I liked.
Yeah, he's one of the few artists that, like in my eyes at least, that like he hasn't missed.
100%, bro. And that guy's interviews are A1 all the time.
Oh my
God. See it, bro.
No, his tweets are A1. Yes. If you're on Twitter, please look at Vince Staples' Twitter. His shit is ridiculous. What did he say last week? He said something about like the CIA dropped a crate full of pit bulls off in the hood. It makes no sense, but it's perfect.
Shouts out to Vince Staples. God damn it, bro. Have you ever heard of him, my guy? I gotta send you some. He's from Long Beach. I really think that you'll like his style. Really dope dude.
What about hip hop?
Yes, sir.
Rap, yeah.
And he mixed, or back in the days, I just heard it in one of his interviews. He was saying how techno started off in urban communities, like on the block, and like a lot of people from the hood were making techno first.
A lot of people don't know too. He's like really well versed on like the history of music and everything.
Sir. Yes, sir.
It's so crazy.
And like even hearing him talk about that, bro. Yeah, you're so right.
Like he's smart as shit, but like nobody knows it, which is the best type of smart.
Right.
Like, you know,
you never expect
act dumb and be smart.
Yes, sir. I love that, my guy. Mr. Brian,
I want to say something before we wrap up.
Yes, sir.
Before I forget, sorry.
Please.
We just skimmed the surface on photography.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even really talk about video. Yeah. So just like the bike community, there's a lot of love there. There's a lot of support. If you have any questions, if you need help with anything, if you need to pick out a camera or a lens, feel free to hit me up.
Both of our DMs are open. I'm more than happy to give anybody advice on any of the topics that we're interested in, because there's no point in getting.
We got to do another one and talk more about video, because we didn't even. I pulled my gimbal out when we were showing our equipment.
We need to dive into that, bro.
I still need to learn about video. I'm like,
we should have a whole video.
So socials at Tuesday's Turn. Mm-hmm. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube at Tuesday's Turn. And my kid just started posting on TikTok, so you're gonna find me on TikTok soon.
I can't wait.
I already got the handle. It's at Tuesday's Turn.
Okay.
Yeah, my Instagram is Evrgold. I have a YouTube channel that's kind of buried that nobody really knows about. It's Evrgold Media, same spell as my Instagram. Pretty much all my socials are the same. It's Evrgold. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. No, not Facebook. TikTok, all that.
I want to say something real quick.
Yes, sir.
That's really smart. a lot of people are making companies nowadays, and they have different names on different socials. If you
Pull
can,
the same social account.
if you can, when you're starting out, try and get the same name and lock it down. Like I locked down my Tuesday's turn. What did I just mention?
Tuesday turn on TikTok.
Exactly. I locked that down months ago, even though I don't use it. I've never posted one. You can go there right now and you'll see. But I've also got a Twitter, which I've never used, because you never know what you're going to do with your brand, right?
You never know.
Exactly.
Also try and get a Gmail that matches your YouTube.
So crazy shit, I asked for my username. So I wanted Evrgold, EVER Gold. That name was taken, so I DM'd that account. I was like, hey, dude, I really want this name.
Which platform?
Instagram.
Oh, wow.
Primarily. And I was like, yo, I'm willing to pay you for this username if you change it and let me get it. Never got a response. So I hit up EVR Gold, and they were like, I was like, yo, like I really want this username. Can you change your name? And can I have it? I really politely asked. And they replied, they're like, yeah, I don't use this account at all. Go ahead and I'll change my name and you can have it.
That is
How long does it take before Instagram lets you do that?
I think like a week.
Oh, wow.
And
I thought it'd be longer
at the
than
time
that.
it might have been instantly. I don't know.
So they have they must have to delete their account though.
No, they just change their
Gotta change
username
their
and
handle.
the app becomes available.
In a week?
Yeah.
Wow, I always
And
thought
so
it'd be like 6 months or
No,
something.
and I hopped on it immediately. I thanked them so profusely, and that's how I got my Instagram. Because I didn't want to have an underscore, I didn't want to have no dots in it, no nothing. I just wanted a clean Evergold.
That's
That
so
is
dope.
sick.
So,
Right.
one thing I've learned in my life, you never know what you can get by asking.
That's awesome.
That's a nice way to leave off on that edge, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric.
That leads perfectly into Low Main's long ass Instagram.
100%.
That doesn't match his YouTube or his Snapchat. He's
Here
always
we go.
performing. Promoting.
Exactly what Brian said. Follow exactly what he's. Do not follow on what I'm about to tell you, because the Instagram is Fresh Prince of the _West on Instagram, Low Main 1990 on Snapchat. I do need to change that, bro, because I think back in our days, showing our birth year was so cool, but nowadays, like, I'm just showing way too much of it. I need to take that away. No.
I was a freshman.
At 1990, let's go!
I wasn't even in the balls yet.
My God.
You were a thought.
I wasn't even a glimmer in the eye.
My God.
Wow.
That's so
Strap
dope.
up, kids. Unless you're ready.
No, that's what we leave you with. Strap up.
Strap up. Now, to everybody, allow me a parting gift. Drink your water, tip your bartender, and I'll see you later. Peace. Let's go.
That was sick.
Oh,
Hey man, I really appreciate it.
Dude, I appreciate
Thank you guys,
It's been
man.
fun as hell.
Yes, sir.
I gotta get going because I gotta get up at 3:30.